In the vast and intricate tapestry of the ancient world, woven with tales of gods and mortals, there exists a figure of remarkable power and independence. She is Artemis, a goddess who steps forth from the mists of Greek mythology not as a queen of a grand palace, but as the sovereign of the untamed wilderness. Her domain is the deep forest, the high mountain, and the moonlit clearing where wild creatures roam free. She represents a profound connection to the natural world, a force that is both nurturing and fiercely protective. Artemis is not merely a deity of the hunt. She's the very spirit of the wild, embodying its untamable essence and its serene yet formidable beauty. She reminds us that some forces cannot be conquered, only respected. Artemis stands as one of the most revered and complex figures on Mount Olympus. Her role extends far beyond the pursuit of game. She's the guardian of young girls and the protector of childbirth, a surprising yet fitting duty for a virgin goddess who vowed never to marry. This duality reveals the depth of her character. She is both the solitary huntress and the watchful guardian of life's most vulnerable moments. Her presence is felt in the rustle of leaves, the quiet strength of a towering cypress tree, and the silver light of the crescent moon. She is a symbol of female strength, self-reliance, and a justice that is as swift and certain as an arrow flying true to its mark. Her stories are not simply ancient legends, they are powerful allegories about our relationship with nature and with each other. Artemis teaches a lesson of balance and respect. She shows that the wilderness is not something to be dominated, but a sacred space to be entered with reverence. Those who honor her domains find a powerful ally, a guide through the hidden paths of the world. However, those who disrespect her, her followers, or the sanctity of the wild soon discover the formidable extent of her power. Her tales have echoed through millennia, shaping how we perceive the delicate interplay between civilization and the untamed world that surrounds it. As we journey into her world, we uncover a goddess whose influence is as enduring as the mountains she roamed. She is a figure of contrasts, the fierce huntress, who is also a gentle protector, the solitary maiden who oversees the community of women, and the ancient deity whose name now travels to the stars. The story of Artemis is the story of an unbroken spirit, a testament to the power of independence and the timeless importance of the natural world. It is a narrative that continues to inspire, reminding us of the wildness that lives not only in the forests and mountains, but also within the human heart, waiting to be rediscovered and respected. The origins of Artemis are as dramatic and wondrous as the goddess herself. She is the daughter of Zeus, the mighty king of the gods, and Leto, a gentle Titaness. Their union, however, incurred the wrath of Hera, Zeus's jealous wife, who decreed that Leto would find no place on solid earth to give birth. Pursued relentlessly across the lands and seas, the weary Leto finally found sanctuary on the floating island of Delos. It was here, beneath a solitary palm tree, that one of the most famous births in all of mythology took place. The divine twins, Artemis and Apollo, were destined to emerge, each a beacon of celestial light and power, forever linked in their shared heritage. According to the ancient tales, Artemis was born first. Emerging into the world with a wisdom and strength far beyond that of a newborn, she immediately turned to assist her mother. In an extraordinary display of innate power and compassion, the infant Artemis acted as midwife during the long and arduous labor that followed, helping to bring her twin brother Apollo into the world. This foundational myth establishes one of her most crucial roles. She is a protector of mothers and a guardian of childbirth. It is a remarkable beginning that cements her status as a chorotrophic or child-nurturing deity, a steadfast guardian of life's fragile beginnings and a source of strength for women in their most trying hours. This unique birth story forever forged an unbreakable bond between Artemis and Apollo. While they presided over different domains, Artemis the moon and the hunt, Apollo the sun and the arts, they remained fiercely loyal to one another. They often acted in unison, their combined might a formidable force against any who dared to disrespect their family or their divine authority. This partnership of the moon and the sun, the wild night and the cultured day, represents a beautiful and essential balance in the cosmos. Their relationship demonstrates a profound familial connection, a loyalty that transcended their individual duties and showcased their shared heritage as children of Leto, born of struggle and destined for greatness. Their shared lineage also highlights their independent spirits. As two of the most powerful and revered younger gods on Olympus, neither Artemis nor Apollo was easily controlled. Artemis in particular cherished her freedom above all else. From a young age, she asked her father Zeus for eternal chastity, a bow and arrows forged by the Cyclopes, and dominion over the untamed wilderness. Her request was not just for solitude, but for sovereignty. This desire for independence set her apart from many other goddesses who were often defined by their marriages and children. Artemis defined herself, carving out a realm where she alone would rule, a testament to her resolute and self-sufficient nature. To picture Artemis is to envision the very essence of the wild. Artists and poets throughout the ages have depicted her as a youthful and vigorous maiden, forever on the cusp of adulthood, yet possessing an ancient wisdom. She is often shown as tall and slender, with an athletic grace that speaks of a life spent traversing rugged mountains and dense forests. Her attire is practical for the hunt, a short tunic or chiton that allows for swift movement, paired with sturdy hunting boots. In her later association with the moon goddess Selene, she might be seen in a long, flowing robe with a veiled head, a crescent moon often adorning her brow like a celestial crown, linking her to the quiet mysteries of the night sky. Her symbols are among the most recognizable in all of Greek mythology, each one a direct reflection of her domains and character. First and foremost are her silver bow and quiver of arrows, said to be crafted by the Cyclops in the fiery heart of a volcano. These are not mere tools of the hunt, they are instruments of her will, capable of delivering swift justice, protecting the innocent, and bringing a painless end to those she favored. Alongside her bow, she carries hunting knives and sometimes a spear. The crescent moon is her celestial emblem, a silent testament to her dominion over the night, while torches symbolize her role in illuminating the darkness and guiding her followers through life's transitions. Artemis is rarely seen alone, for she is the Potnia Theron, the mistress of animals. A host of sacred creatures accompanies her, each with its own special significance. Her most cherished companions are the deer, particularly the magnificent Ceryneian hind with its golden antlers and bronze hooves, which was said to pull her chariot. Loyal hunting dogs, a gift from the god Pan, run at her side, their senses as keen as her own. The bear is also deeply connected to her, a remnant of ancient cults where young girls would imitate she-bears in her honor. The boar, a creature of immense strength and ferocity, often appears in her myths as an agent of her wrath, sent to punish mortals who display arrogance or disrespect. Even the plant world pays homage to this great goddess. The cypress tree, straight and ever reaching toward the sky, is sacred to her, a symbol of her unyielding spirit and her connection to both the earth and the heavens. The palm tree, under which she was born on Delos, also holds a special place in her mythology. These living symbols are not just decorations, they are integral parts of who she is. They tell the story of a goddess who is woven into the very fabric of the natural world, a deity whose power is rooted in the ancient forests, the silent mountains, and the creatures that call these wild places home. Her presence is a constant reminder of the untamed beauty that exists just beyond the borders of our civilized world. The powers of Artemis are as diverse as the wilderness she commands, extending from the physical world of the hunt to the spiritual realm of protection and justice. Her most celebrated skill is her unmatched prowess in archery. With her silver bow in hand, she is an archer without equal, her aim unerring and her arrows flying with supernatural speed and precision. This ability is not simply for sport, it is a fundamental expression of her divine authority. She could bring down the swiftest stag or the most fearsome beast, but she could also use her arrows to deliver a merciful, painless death to mortals, especially women who were suffering. Her archery is a symbol of her focus, her decisiveness, and her ability to strike at the heart of any matter. Beyond her skill as a huntress, Artemis holds a profound role as a guardian. She is the protector of the young, particularly girls, watching over them as they navigate the journey from childhood to adulthood. This patronage makes her a key figure in rites of passage, a divine guide ensuring a safe transition into a new phase of life. Her protection extends to the sacred act of childbirth, where she stands as a powerful ally to women in labor, easing their pain and safeguarding both mother and child. This nurturing aspect of her character seems to be at odds with her fierce independence, yet it demonstrates her comprehensive dominion over the cycles of life, from its fragile beginnings to its final moments. Her vow of perpetual virginity is central to her identity and a source of immense power. By choosing to remain unmarried and free from the influence of gods and men, Artemis secured a unique position of autonomy on Olympus. This independence makes her a powerful symbol of female strength and self-sufficiency. She fiercely defended her chastity and that of her followers, the nymphs, who roamed the forests with her. Any who dared to violate this vow faced her immediate and unforgiving wrath. Her independence was not a rejection of others, but an affirmation of her own sovereignty, a declaration that her worth and power were entirely her own, not derived from any external relationship. Finally, Artemis is the undisputed master of the wild. Her dominion covers the forests, mountains, rivers and marshes, all the places untouched by human hands. She commands the wild animals, and they obey her as their rightful queen. This connection to nature is absolute. She is not just in the wilderness, she is the wilderness. Her powers are tied to the health and vitality of the natural world. In this role, she embodies a primordial force, a reminder of the raw, untamed energy that predates civilization. To enter her domain is to enter a world governed by natural law, where Artemis herself is the ultimate arbiter of justice, her presence a constant, powerful force in the wild heart of the world. The worship of Artemis was one of the most widespread and deeply felt religious practices in the ancient Greek world. Unlike gods who were primarily honored in bustling city-states, Artemis was often venerated at the edge of civilization, in sanctuaries nestled within forests, near marshes or on mountainsides. Her followers sought her out in the places she called home. Shrines, altars and temples dedicated to her dotted the landscape, from the rugged hills of Arcadia to the shores of Ionia. These sacred sites were centers of devotion for a wide array of people, hunters praying for a successful chase, young girls preparing for marriage, and women seeking her protection during childbirth. Her worship was, quite simply, a living, breathing part of daily life. Among all her sanctuaries, one stood above the rest in its sheer magnificence, the Temple of Artemis at Ephesus. This colossal structure was so grand and ornate that it was declared one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. Built and rebuilt over centuries, it was a testament to the immense reverence in which the goddess was held. Pilgrims from all corners of the Mediterranean would travel to Ephesus to pay homage, bringing offerings and participating in lavish festivals. The Ephesian Artemis was a unique form of the goddess, often depicted with multiple breast-like globes, symbolizing her role as a universal mother and a goddess of fertility, a fascinating fusion of Greek and older Anatolian beliefs. Her worship was marked by vibrant and meaningful festivals, often held in the spring to celebrate the renewal of life. The Elaphobolia was a festival in Athens where celebrants offered her cakes shaped like stags, honoring her as a huntress. In Brauron, the festival of Brauronia involved a unique ritual where young Athenian girls, known as arctoi or she-bears, served the goddess for a period, symbolically taming their wild childhood nature before entering adulthood. At the Munichia festival, round cakes adorned with candles were offered to her, representing the full moon and celebrating her celestial aspect. These festivals were not just solemn rituals. They were joyous community events filled with music, dance, and athletic contests, strengthening the bond between the people and their divine protector. The epithets used to invoke Artemis reveal the many facets of her character. She was known as Artemis Agrotera, Artemis of the wilds by hunters. As Artemis Kourotrophos, she was the nurturer of children. In Sparta, she was Artemis Orthia, a sterner, more ancient form of the goddess associated with discipline and endurance. Each name and each cult highlighted a different aspect of her power, showing just how deeply she was integrated into the fabric of Greek society. From the grandest temple to the humblest rustic shrine, the worship of Artemis was a powerful testament to humanity's enduring need to connect with the wild, untamable spirit of the natural world. The myths of Artemis serve as powerful cautionary tales, illustrating the severe consequences of hubris and disrespect. Perhaps the most famous of these is the story of Actaeon, a young hunter who stumbled upon Artemis while she was bathing in a secluded spring. For the unforgivable transgression of seeing her in her private moment, the goddess showed no mercy. She transformed him into a stag, and his own loyal hunting dogs, no longer recognizing their master, turned on him and tore him to pieces. This brutal story is a stark reminder of the goddess's fierce defense of her privacy and her sanctity. It warns that the sacredness of the divine and the wild must be respected, or the consequences will be swift and terrible. Her role as an agent of divine justice is also prominent in the myth of Niobe, a queen who boasted that she was superior to Leto because she had 14 children, while the goddess had only 2. Enraged by this insult to their mother, Artemis and Apollo acted together. With their infallible bows, Apollo struck down Niobe's 7 sons, while Artemis killed her 7 daughters. The myth is a tragic lesson about the dangers of hubris and the folly of comparing oneself to the gods. Artemis, in this story, is not just a protector of her own honor, but a defender of her family, demonstrating a loyalty as fierce as her independence. Her arrows deliver a justice that is absolute and unquestionable. Not all of her interactions ended in tragedy, however. In some tales, she demonstrates a capacity for understanding and even forgiveness. When the hero Heracles was tasked with capturing the Ceryneian hind, a creature sacred to Artemis, he pursued it for a full year. After finally capturing it, he was confronted by an angry Artemis and Apollo. Heracles respectfully explained his plight, that he was bound by his labors to serve King Eurystheus. Recognizing that he acted not out of malice but out of necessity, Artemis forgave him and allowed him to show the hind to the king before releasing it unharmed. This story reveals a more nuanced side of the goddess, one who can value respect and context over rigid adherence to her laws. She also acted as a rescuer and an ally to those in need, especially women. When the nymph Callisto, one of her devoted followers, broke her vow of chastity after being deceived by Zeus, a grieving Artemis transformed her into a bear. In most versions, Callisto was later killed, but Zeus placed her in the heavens as the constellation Ursa Major, the Great Bear. In another myth, Artemis saved the Cretan nymph Britomartis from the relentless pursuit of King Minos, enveloping her in fishing nets and later making her a goddess. These stories, though often harsh, underscore her role as a guardian of her domain and her followers, a complex deity whose actions are driven by an unyielding code of justice, honor, and protection. The story of Artemis did not begin on Mount Olympus. Her roots run much deeper, reaching back into the mists of pre-Greek history. The origins of her name, Artemis, remain uncertain to scholars, suggesting it may have been inherited from an even older non-Greek language. This linguistic mystery points to a goddess whose worship predates the classical pantheon we're familiar with today. Early evidence of her name has been found on Mycenaean Greek tablets dating back to the Bronze Age, where she appears as Artemito. This ancient lineage tells us she was not simply an invention of the classical Greeks, but an evolution of a primordial nature deity who had been worshipped for centuries. One of the most fascinating theories about her origins connects her to ancient bear cults that were once widespread across Europe and Anatolia. The Greek word for bear is Arctos, which is tantalizingly close to the name Artemis. This connection is strengthened by her rituals, particularly the one at Brauron, where young girls were called Arctoi, or she-bears. By dressing in saffron robes and performing sacred dances, these girls symbolically served the goddess as her bears before they were ready for marriage. This ritual may be a distant echo of a time when a powerful bear goddess was worshipped as the ultimate symbol of wild maternal strength, a role that was later absorbed into the persona of Artemis. Her depiction as Potnia Theron, or Mistress of Animals, also points to a very ancient heritage. This title, often illustrated by showing her flanked by two animals, is a common motif found in Minoan and Mycenaean art, long before the classical period. It represents a powerful nature goddess who holds dominion over all wild creatures. In this form, Artemis is less the specific goddess of the hunt and more the universal sovereign of the untamed world. She inherited this ancient and powerful archetype, becoming the Olympian vessel for a much older concept of a female deity who embodied the raw, untamed power of nature itself. This fusion of different traditions is what makes Artemis such a complex and compelling figure. She is at once a classical Greek goddess, the twin sister of Apollo, and at the same time, the inheritor of ancient chthonic traditions. She carries with her the wildness of the bear cults, the authority of the Minoan mistress of animals, and the celestial grace of a moon goddess. Her character is a rich tapestry woven from many different threads of belief and worship over thousands of years. Understanding these deeper roots allows us to see Artemis not just as a figure from myth, but as an enduring symbol of humanity's long and profound relationship with the natural world. The reign of the Olympian gods may have ended centuries ago, but the spirit of Artemis has proven to be remarkably enduring. Her legacy has journeyed far beyond the ancient temples and whispered myths, finding a new home in the language of science and the grand ambitions of space exploration. In the field of astronomy, her name graces the cosmos she was once believed to rule. There is the asteroid 105 Artemis, a rocky body orbiting the Sun, and on the Moon itself, the Artemis crater stands as a permanent monument to the lunar goddess. Her name is etched into the heavens, a fitting tribute to the deity who once wore the crescent moon as her crown. This celestial connection has reached its most spectacular expression in our modern era. NASA, in its ambitious quest to return humans to the lunar surface, chose a name that resonates with mythic purpose, the Artemis program. The choice is beautifully symbolic. Just as Artemis was the twin sister of Apollo, the Artemis program follows in the footsteps of the historic Apollo missions that first took humanity to the moon. This time, however, the program has a stated goal of landing the first woman and the first person of color on the lunar surface. The name Artemis has become a powerful symbol of a new era of exploration, one that is more inclusive and forward-thinking, yet still connected to the timeless human drive to reach for the stars. Beyond the realm of space, her name lives on in the natural world she once protected. The genus Artemia refers to a group of aquatic crustaceans, better known as brine shrimp or sea monkeys, creatures that thrive in saline lakes, the kind of wild, watery domain the goddess might have overseen. Botanists also know of Artemisia, a large genus of plants that include sagebrush and wormwood, hardy plants that often grow in untamed, arid landscapes. In this way, her name remains woven into the very fabric of the biological world, a constant, quiet reminder of her ancient role as the mistress of animals and the guardian of wild places. The legacy of Artemis, therefore, is not confined to history books or museum galleries. It is alive and evolving. She has transitioned from a goddess of the ancient wilderness to a symbol for modern pioneers. Her spirit of independence, her fierce protectiveness, and her connection to the moon have found new meaning in a world of scientific discovery and social progress. Whether as a name for a spacecraft journeying to the moon or a genus of resilient plants, Artemis continues to inspire. She reminds us that the quest for knowledge and the spirit of exploration are, in their own way, a continuation of the wild, untamed curiosity she has always embodied. Artemis endures as far more than just a figure from ancient Greek religion. She has become an eternal symbol, a powerful archetype representing some of our most profound ideals: independence, justice, and the untamable spirit of the natural world. In a world that often demands conformity, she stands as a timeless icon of self-reliance and strength. Her choice to forge her own path, free from the constraints of marriage and societal expectation, resonates deeply today. She is an inspiration for anyone who seeks to live authentically, to define their own worth, and to walk a path of their own making. Her story is a powerful affirmation of female strength and autonomy. Her role as a guardian of the wilderness has also taken on a new and urgent significance in our modern age. As we face growing environmental challenges, Artemis emerges as a potent symbol for the conservation movement. She is the fierce protector of the forests, the mountains, and the creatures that inhabit them. Her myths, which once served as warnings against disrespecting the gods, can now be read as allegories about the consequences of disrespecting nature itself. She reminds us that the wild is not a resource to be endlessly exploited, but a sacred domain that demands our reverence and protection. The spirit of Artemis calls on us to be better stewards of our planet. Furthermore, her identity as a purveyor of swift and unwavering justice continues to capture the human imagination. She represents a world where wrongdoing does not go unpunished and where the innocent are defended. In her myths, she acts as a moral compass, restoring balance when it has been upset by arrogance, cruelty, or disrespect. This aspect of her character speaks to our innate desire for a just and fair world. She is a symbol of righteous anger, the powerful force that rises to defend the vulnerable and to hold the powerful accountable for their actions. Her legacy is a reminder that the pursuit of justice is a noble and necessary endeavor. In the end, the story of Artemis is the story of an elemental force that cannot be extinguished. She is the quiet power of the moonlit forest, the fierce loyalty that binds a family, and the unyielding strength of an independent spirit. From the ancient bear cults to the modern missions to the moon, her presence has adapted and evolved, yet her core essence remains unchanged. She is the eternal wild, a part of our collective consciousness that values freedom, cherishes nature, and demands justice. As long as there are wild places left in the world and wild spirits to explore them, the legacy of Artemis will continue to shine as brightly as the celestial bodies she once claimed as her own.